All right, let's talk about the OG influencer, the queen of drama, the absolute legend, Cleopatra. Seriously, you think you know her story? The movies barely scratch the surface. The real Cleopatra was 1,000 times more wild, more brilliant, and way more intense than anything Hollywood could dream up. So buckle up, because we're diving into some of the craziest facts about the last pharaoh of Egypt. First off, let's clear something up. When you picture Cleopatra, you probably imagine Elizabeth Taylor, right? Stunning, but not quite accurate. Cleopatra wasn't actually Egyptian by blood. Her family, the Ptolemies, were Greek Macedonian. They descended from one of Alexander the Great's top generals. For almost 300 years, her family ruled Egypt. But get this, they were so snobbish about their Greek heritage that most of them never even bothered to learn the Egyptian language. But not our girl Cleo. She was a linguistic genius. She was the first and only Ptolemaic ruler to actually learn Egyptian, and not just Egyptian. She spoke at least 9 languages, including Greek, Parthian, Hebrew, and Arabic. Imagine being able to negotiate trade deals, sweet-talk foreign dignitaries, and command your armies, all in their native tongues. She wasn't just a pretty face. She was a master communicator and a political powerhouse. That's how you command respect. Now, let's get into the juicy stuff. You know the story of her rolling up in a carpet to meet Julius Caesar, right? It's iconic, but think about what was actually happening. She was a young queen, basically a teenager, who had been exiled by her own brother husband. Yeah, we'll get to the family drama in a second. She's in the middle of a civil war. Her life is on the line, and the most powerful man in the world, Julius Caesar, has just landed in her city. She can't get to him through normal channels because her brother's goons are everywhere. So what does she do? She has herself smuggled into the palace, wrapped up in a rug or a linen sack, and delivered like a package right at Caesar's feet. Can you imagine the sheer audacity, the absolute confidence? It wasn't just a gimmick, it was a power move. She bypassed all her enemies and got a private audience with the one person who could change her fate. And obviously it worked. Caesar was completely captivated, and by morning she had him wrapped around her little finger. Okay, the family drama. The Ptolemies were messy. To keep the bloodline pure, they practiced incestuous marriage. It was totally normal for them. Cleopatra was married to not one, but 2 of her younger brothers. Her first husband, Ptolemy XIII, was the one who tried to exile her. So with Caesar's help, she defeated him. He ended up drowning in the Nile while trying to escape. Oops. Then she married her other younger brother, Ptolemy XIV. But let's be real, she was the one in charge. After Caesar was assassinated, and she needed to consolidate her power, her little brother husband mysteriously died, probably from poison. Coincidence? Unlikely. Cleopatra was ruthless. She had at least one of her sisters executed as well to eliminate any rivals to her throne. It sounds brutal, but in her world, it was literally kill or be killed. She did what she had to do to survive and protect her kingdom. Finally, let's talk about her legendary extravagance. The stories are insane. You've probably heard about the bet she made with Mark Antony, her other famous Roman lover. She wagered that she could host the most expensive dinner in history. Antony, being a guy who loved a good party, took the bet. He shows up and the food is fine, good, but not ridiculously expensive. He starts to get smug, thinking he's won. Then, for the second course, a servant brings Cleopatra a single cup of strong vinegar. In front of everyone, she takes off one of her pearl earrings, which were said to be the 2 largest pearls in the entire world, worth an absolute fortune, and drops it into the vinegar. The pearl dissolves, and then she just drinks it. She drank a fortune. Antony was so stunned, he immediately conceded the bet. She literally drank the equivalent of a country's GDP just to prove a point. That's not just wealth, that's performance art. That's how you build a legend. So, when you think of Cleopatra, don't just think of a seductress. Think of a brilliant scholar, a ruthless strategist, and a marketing genius who understood the power of spectacle. She wasn't just a character in the Roman story. She was the star of her own, fighting tooth and nail to protect her people and her legacy against the most powerful empire in the world. And honestly, she almost won. Now that's a queen.